This is part 5 of my construction series on creating a desktop orrery. In this video, the Jupiter layer is completed. Jupiter level is going to be a little more difficult. This is the drive gear for the Jupiter level. You can see that putting a hub on this gear to mount to this shaft is going to be a little bit of a trick considering how small it is. Jupiter turns so very much slower than the rest of the planets that we've done so far that we need a very small gear to a very large gear going to another really small gear to another very large gear to get to the right rotation rate. I do need to drill my Jupiter plate. That needs to be drilled out to a 1/4 inch because Jupiter shaft or tube is a 1/4 inch in diameter. So I'll drill that out to a 1/4 inch. This is the Jupiter plate. This small gear gets mounted as a drive gear for Jupiter. But I think, now that I've really contemplated it, I'm going to cut out a brass hub, and then that's going to rest, the teeth of the gear are actually going to rest inside the hub. And then I'll drill through at that point. I am not going to put a support along the shaft for Mars. I don't have enough space there to do that. And we're getting to the end now. We don't need a lot of strength at this point. We're just turning Jupiter and Saturn. My last orrery, I didn't put any bushings on the shafts, and I just was very careful about tightening the set screws on the gears. So I'm just going to have to be very careful about tightening the set screw on this gear. I don't need this hub to be this fat. I'm going to cut it down to maybe the diameter of the gear, or maybe just under, but we'll start machining that first. I'm just trying to conserve some brass, otherwise I would just cut it out of a much bigger piece. We are going to cut this down to a finer diameter first. I'm thinking something like 3/8 maybe. Look at that, 0.4, we're about a thousandth inch over, but that's good. Then we're going to drill this out, but first we need to face that off. All right, I've centered the small gear on the mill. I'm going to try and drill this hole out so I get a number 6 screw through it so I can mount it to the hub, solder it, and then I'll drill it out to my full 732 diameter, which will pretty much drill off the little tiny hub that's on here right now. I centered the drill or the mill right over the top of that hole. I've got it clamped in here with some aluminum padding so it doesn't crush that brass, but I don't want it spinning, so I got it kind of cushioned with the aluminum. All right, so gear is drilled. Yeah, that's going to work really good. That fits pretty snugly. I think we'll be able to solder really good there. So there's our gear here, and we're mounted right like that. And we're going to solder that all together. Surfaces were cleaned and then tinned and then soldered in place, and there it's mounted to the shaft. The side shaft was made in 3 pieces and then soldered together, and actually soldering the gear to the shaft. This is A gear with the hub attached, and then mounted to the side shaft. The Jupiter tube shaft, it can be seen here, completed with a reinforced section on the bottom for the set screws. Finally, A, B, C, and D gears are all mounted to their shafts, and the top plate for Jupiter is put in place, and we're ready to test. Mercury is orange, Venus is green, Earth is blue, Mars is red, and Jupiter is purple. I still have to stain and varnish the wood underneath the protective tape. But yeah, so Jupiter is working. Fantastic. Next is Saturn, and that'll be the final layer. And then we can start putting together the orbital rods and putting the planets on. You can find more on my website, more details on the construction of this smaller orrery, my second one, at the address on the screen. Thank you.